All right, good morning, everyone. It is time for Weather Where You Are. We are going to talk about some of the cooler temperatures that have been in place and how long they are expected to last. I am First Alert Meteorologist Courteney Jacobazzi. I'm sure a lot of you have woken up the past couple of mornings and stepped outside and said, whew, just a little bit of a chill in the air. Feels nice, doesn't it? Yeah, the season now kind of settling in here across North Georgia and that cooler air coming along with it. So we're going to talk about what the outlook is for North Georgia when it comes to the temperature, also the rainfall, because we desperately need some rain. We're going to take a look at where we're sitting rainfall-wise for the year and how much of a deficit we're in, because if you haven't noticed, we haven't had any kind of measurable rainfall in quite some time. I know we got a little bit of drizzle last week when that cold front moved through, but definitely not enough for us to come out of a deficit at our rain gauge at the airport, at least. So let's take a look at what's going on in the weather department. This morning we woke up in the 40s, 47 at the airport, so we went below 50 yet again. Our average low temperature is in the upper 50s, so clearly we were far off from that, well below average this morning. And if you enjoy this kind of weather, it looks like when you go beyond the 7-day, this is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, so this goes into next week, and you take the average of our temperatures, it looks like we are going to stay cooler than average. That doesn't mean every day is going to be below average, because I will tell you tomorrow we're going to be back above average temperature-wise. But when you look at the 6 to 10 day outlook as a whole and you go beyond the 7-day and take the numbers and average them, we do look cooler than normal, which is wonderful. I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the cooler air to settle in. I've had enough of the heat. Summer had its time. It's time to let fall shine through here in North Georgia. Now here's a look at the rain outlook as we head into next week. If you can believe it, we're going to be in mid-October next week. What? I know. Merry Christmas, everyone. Here's a look at the rain outlook. We're going to be dry, it looks like, which is unfortunate because, again, we are in a rainfall deficit. Now, as I mentioned with the cooler air, this doesn't mean we aren't going to get any rain. In fact, we have 2 at least opportunities for some measurable rainfall this week. But it does look like our pattern as a whole, when you take a look at our pattern between now and the 10 days that this outlook goes out through, it looks like we will be drier than normal. Now, this month is typically a rainy month for us. So being drier than normal is, I guess, better in this month than some other months. But nonetheless, drier weather continues for us here across North Georgia, it seems like. So here's a look at where we stand in the rainfall department so far this year. Just about 33.5 inches of rain, a little over, for the entire year. Now, that puts us in a deficit of almost 6 inches of rain. So we need to gain 6 more inches of rain to just get out of a deficit for today. This is only going to continue to grow, especially, again, as we head through October, which is normally a fairly rainy month for us. If we go another week or two without any kind of substantial rainfall, this number is really going to start to climb. So something we'll be watching very closely for you, because, of course, if we don't get any rain, we're going to continue to go into a drought. Our latest drought monitor that came out last Thursday did reflect that our drought conditions are getting worse. We don't have anything that is extreme right now, but we do have some spots that are abnormally dry. In fact, I'll pull that up for you. So in far northwest Georgia, even extending into parts of Fannin County, over near Athens, some abnormally dry to even a moderate drought condition. But now we're starting to see some spotty patches of abnormally dry conditions in places like Cherokee County, extending into parts of Hall County, also parts of Fulton, Clayton County, Fayette County. So we need the rain, clearly. And I expect this to look even more splotchy as we go into Thursday and get our update from for the drought monitor on Thursday. Let's talk about some of those opportunities for rain. So what we're going to be watching this week, it's really interesting. So a low, in fact, a tropical system that was in the Pacific. So the Atlantic Basin and the Pacific Basin both have different names, groups of names. So the Pacific has its own list of names that go from A to Z, and the Pacific, or the Atlantic, has its own list of names as well. So you had Tropical Storm Lydia that was just off the western coast of Mexico, and that actually is going to traverse over the continent, or over the peninsula, I should say, not the continent, the peninsula, surrounded by water on 3 sides. And that's going to make its way into the Gulf and bring rain to the Gulf states, but it could potentially bring us rain on Wednesday as it wraps around some of that moisture from the Gulf. That could carry with it some rain that could could bring, especially places south of the city, some measurable rainfall. Definitely along the Gulf Coast, they're going to pick up a lot of rain. But here at home, we'll primarily right now look south of the city. I will say one of our models that we look at does have that rain extending further north, really only keeping the mountains dry. So that would be great. We could use the rain, especially during a work week when we don't have a bunch of plans, right? So here's Wednesday at 7:30, mainly south of I-20 is where we'll look for a chance for rain right now. We're keeping the coverage at 30% as of now for Wednesday. But again, tomorrow we'll have a more higher resolution model to go off of, and we'll see what that thinks about this low. They're really difficult to forecast. It's going to ride along a front that moved through last weekend that gave us the really beautiful weather for the weekend. So depending on where that front decides to sit and then ultimately how that low kind of stays organized as it moves into the Gulf, there's a lot that goes into forecasting that just makes it tricky overall. So right now we'll keep a 30% coverage mainly south of the city, but that could very well change. So now we're going to watch a cold front. This is our next opportunity for rain. That could bring us some showers Friday, particularly in the evening. This model is a little bit slower. This is the European model, so this keeps the rain even into maybe early Saturday afternoon, clearing as we head into the mid-afternoon hours, giving us a really beautiful Saturday night and Sunday. The GFS model dries us out by pretty much late Friday. So the timing on this next front is definitely something that needs to be fine-tuned, but just know that this will offer us our best rain chance is this front Friday, potentially into Saturday morning. Friday's coverage right now at about 40%, Saturday's at 20%. So we'll be watching that carefully for you. Let's get into your forecast for today really quickly. Today is just going to be another beautiful day while we wait for that rain chance that we will just cross our fingers on. Temperatures this afternoon are generally going to climb into the low 70s. So if you're headed to the Braves game today, it's going to be a really, really nice afternoon for some baseball. First pitch again at 6 o'clock. If you're headed to the Battery a little early before the game, I believe gates open to the park at 4 o'clock today. We'll be in the mid-70s by around 5. You might need a light jacket. Personally, for me, mid-60s is light jacket worthy, but for you, it might not be. So whatever you feel is necessary for 60s, because that's what we'll essentially drop into as we head closer to 10 o'clock, hopefully taking home a win after our loss on Saturday. We will just keep our fingers crossed on that. Out the door tomorrow, you'll probably want to grab the jacket again. Temperatures will be in the 50s, so our warming trend will continue. Our wind is going to come out of the southwest, which ultimately puts us under the influence of the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico, obviously a very warm body of water, so we're under the influence of a warmer air mass. That's going to make our temperatures naturally warmer both today through the overnight and tomorrow. So tomorrow definitely light jacket worthy in the 50s. It'll be a nice morning, a little more humid. You'll notice it's not going to be quite as crisp as you step out the door tomorrow. And temperatures tomorrow afternoon will climb near 80 degrees. So a much warmer day tomorrow. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Today, again, after a very chilly morning in the 40s, some spots even made it back into the 30s this morning. I know Cherokee County dropped to 39. We'll be in the mid-70s this afternoon, and then temperatures tomorrow back near 80. It's only brief that will be near 80. Again, we're going to watch for those showers to return Wednesday. It will be a little more muggy, again, with that southwest wind kind of persistent through midweek. It'll be a little more muggy, but definitely not summertime sticky by any stretch of the imagination. Mostly dry Thursday, maybe a 20% coverage of rain for the morning as that low kind of skirts on by to our south. And then Friday, that cold front moves in, and again, the rain chance Friday and Saturday, really from Wednesday and beyond, needs some fine-tuning, but just prepare for the rain chance, especially south of the city Wednesday. Friday, we'll have the chance for scattered showers, especially in the evening, and then Saturday morning, we could continue that chance for rain. Right now, we're going to keep it at a 20% chance until we get a better handle on exactly when that front will move in. Nonetheless, it looks like Sunday is going to be a beautiful day with a morning in the 50s, highs only in the 60s. It's just going to be really, really stunning as we head towards the end of the weekend. So a little bit of something for everybody on the 7-day. If you want the warm weather, we got it for you. If you want the cooler weather, we have that for you. We also have some rain. I know a lot of people who probably have beautiful gardens in their backyard are probably like, where in the world is the rain? I don't want to have to use my own water. I just need Mother Nature to provide it for me. So hopefully we'll get some because, again, we are in a drought, so we could use it. All right, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me for Weather Where You Are. Of course, again, if you weren't with us at the top of this segment here, we had a 6 to 10 day temperature outlook showing cooler. The normal temperatures are going to be likely. So if you're a fan of this cooler air, it seems like it's settling in. Fall is really starting to make its presence across North Georgia. But unfortunately, it does also look like we'll stay drier than average as well. So we could use the rain. We're just going to have to keep our fingers crossed that we can get some with our few opportunities that we have this week. All right. Thanks so much for spending some time with me this morning for Weather Where You Are. I hope you make it a wonderful day.